welcome to a brand new series, Startup Capital. Over the next few months, we'll take a look at some of the newest and most enterprising startups from Bengaluru, the startup capital of India. We'll have in-depth interviews with VCs. We journey with founders to understand the lowest as well as the highest points of their careers. And we'll attempt to answer that one question: what makes a startup click? But before we do all that, today we look at the big event that has thrown all planning into disarray. COVID-19 has put all businesses, big or small, in a fix. It hasn't been any different for startups. Being a startup hub, the situation in Bengaluru typifies the impact of COVID-19 on the national startup ecosystem. Today, we would like to kickstart the series with a very special interview with someone who is no stranger to the startup world. Part of India's oldest startup Infosys and now a successful venture capitalist himself. TV Mohandas Pai has a pulse on the state of affairs in the startup ecosystem following the spread of the pandemic. I spoke to him to get a sense of what is going on in the startup world and, more importantly, what we should be watching out for. Take a look. Hello, Mr. Pai. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
Firstly, if you could tell me, how has COVID-19 impacted the startup ecosystem in Bangalore?
Well, the startup ecosystem in Bangalore is very large, about 9,000 startups. There's a Bangalore report released by the techies of Bangalore. You must read that. And 9,000 startups has got some 18 unicorns, and about $5.5 billion came in last year. About $30 billion has come in the last maybe 6 years. So it's a very large ecosystem. Out of this, maybe 60% are very small startups, and many of them don't have enough cash, because they're all started in garages by people who have very little money. And they were all hoping to raise money. Raising money has become very difficult now with COVID for the last nearly 4 months. And so obviously, we all fear what is going to happen to them. NASSCOM made a survey which said about 60% of the companies don't have cash more than 3 months. We have been talking to government to make sure that there is funding coming in. But I think it is a tight situation. But there are many companies which have done well because they're in the digital space. People's habits have changed. And I think people like Big Basket, Licious have done extremely well because the market has taken off and the time has come. They are unable to fulfill their demand on them primarily because of supply chain issues. Supply chains have been broken because things are closed. So I would say the startup ecosystem is coming of age. And when this settles down, people will be betting on those who are scaled up, who have been able to work. There will be a shakeout, and the shakeout will be all for the better. And I think Bangalore should now enter the next phase for startups and innovation.
Let's talk a bit about early age startups. So, what do you think should be their strategy to sustain?
Well, to me, the best strategy is sustain for all of them to make sure that they keep enough cash in the balance sheet. Because remember, this is all about economic activity, right? And you need to have cash in the balance sheet. If you run out of money, how will you meet your expenses? That means reduce your fixed costs, cut salaries of people who are highly paid, try to push cut down expenses, try to push the cash as long as possible. That's the only strategy, and try to grow business without spending too much money. Because many of them do things which are less relevant today. At the time before COVID, if you're doing marketing, you used to go to the big portals and pour money down their throat. Now you don't have to do that because everybody is here. So you've got to come out with innovative ways to build networks so that you can do your business and you can connect with people. For example, edtech companies have taken off. Why is that? Because everybody is logged in. Entertainment companies have taken off. Telemedicine has taken off. And then we're also seeing other companies like e-commerce, vertical e-commerce taking off. So they're all taking off. If you are in a particular space where digital is going to be the platform on which you grow, you've got to come out with innovative ways to find your own space. So I think this is what I would tell them.
How has funding been impacted in the whole situation, Mr. Pai?
I saw a report that last 2 months funding has been almost zero. See, even the venture capitalists are holding on to the cash and sitting down and watching who are going to succeed. They don't want to pour money, and most of them are interested in giving money to their own companies which are doing well, or maybe saving some of them who need money desperately because they're good companies. And some others, they let go. They will not invest because they say, look, we got so much of money. where will we get the greatest return? So now they're taking very hard decisions based on their own analysis and estimation of how the market will turn out. So I think it's a shakeup.
So would it be right to say that the investors have become more cautious?
Absolutely. Investors have become cautious because even the LPs are not. Remember, I mean, the VCs get money from the LPs. And much of the LPs are institutions, and they're also cautious because they depend on their LPs. And if the LPs are individuals, many of them have been hurt. Remember, the stock market has come down by 40 lakh crores. And a lot of people who are LPs have got a lot of investment in the markets, and they used to sell and put money into venture as a risk diversification. Now they're very cautious. So I think this is a time when everybody has become cautious. The world is come to a standstill. We don't know which way the world will go. So yes, everybody is cautious.
What about new pitches? Have you seen them coming down?
Yes, there have been many new pitches because now there are many innovative people who are looking at how COVID is coming, how habits have changed, what has happened. They're coming out with new ways of doing it. So I think it's exciting. We are watching it, but it's taking time. Because for a new pitch, you have to be in a frame of mind where you're willing to take the risk. So unless it's very, very good, you feel excited about it, it's some new technology which can rapidly change or disrupt something others are doing, you'll be cautious.
Right. Mr. Pai, is there going to be a change in the way the industry works post the pandemic?
Well, I think there'll be a change. Like I said, there'll be a flight to quality. There'll be a flight to quality that spray and pray approach of many people will come down. And the angels have been deeply hurt. See, I worry about seed because once you've been around for 3 or 4 years, then you got enough time, you got capital, you do well, etc. That's why we need platforms like Less Venture and others to really take off. Less Venture is a seed platform which gives seed capital, and the angels have given capital. And sadly, the government of India has not been helpful at all. They've got levied capital gains at 28% on startups for long-term capital gains after 2 years. They increase the surcharge by 37% for income above 5 crores. Now, if you put money into, let us say, 5 companies, and one of them takes off, you're going to make money as and when you sell. But you put 28% tax, and then in the stock markets, you can hold the stock for 1 year and pay 11%. It's very unfair. I mean, I wish Mr. Sitaraman will listen to this broadcast and try to do something, because you're stacking the odds against all the angels. See, the angels play a very critical role in giving seed capital, where the big funds don't want to put small amounts of money. So the angels are important. And for the angels, the tax policy has to be favorable. The tax policy is very perverse and adverse for them, and that is hurting the ability. So today, some of these young startups go to angels and tell money. They'll think deeply. Should I put money into the liquid stock markets, or should I put money here? Because the stock markets, some very, very good companies' value has come down, and they'll make very good money if they hold on for a year. Whereas in all this startup, they got to hold on for 3 or 4 years. The risks are higher, the returns will be higher, but if the tax is so much high, then obviously on the risk-adjusted, tax-adjusted basis, you may think, is this something to do? So we need to change the tax policy. The tax policy is very perverse and adverse. And I hope Ms. Sitaraman, who's our MP from Bangalore, she's our MP, please remember, okay? She has to do something for us. I hope she does it.
So once things get back to normal, it won't be the same, right? So
it won't be the same.
Yeah. So
see, it won't be the same. And let me explain what I mean by the time has come. See, today, Bangalore has built a fantastic software service industry. March 2020, $150 billion of exports. Totally, we have 30,000 companies in Bangalore. You'll be surprised. 30,000 companies in Bangalore, including startups, etc. And we got R&D, we got cutting edge, we got 20 lakh people employed, 20 lakh people, okay? A very, very large number. Out of 1.2 crore people here, 20 lakh people are in technology. We have got more people in technology in Silicon Valley. The largest number of people in technology in any city in the world is in Bangalore today. So that is what Bangalore. On top of that, we have the startups. We've been through some 7 years of good startups, 18, I think, unicorns, and they're doing very well. And I think the system. Now the time has come for Bangalore to take the next leap forward and invest in high technology. We don't have enough high technology startups. What is high technology? Cutting edge technology like big data analytics, like 3D printing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, like facial recognition, and all that. is very important. There are a lot of companies, maybe 1,000 companies, startups are using AI, but we need a AI network to come. That's why I'm through your channel, I want to recommend to our Deputy Chief Minister, the IT Minister, that the government must create a consortium of higher education institutions like the ISC, Triple IT, and some of the engineering colleges like UEC, etc., and give them 100 crore grants every year for the next 5 years to do research in some of these frontier areas, and maybe work with somebody like Chris Gopalkrishnan, who is a great czar in this area of research, so that we invest in high quality research, create masters and PhDs who do deep research, and then they go into the ecosystem, and the ecosystem takes off, because that's a long-term thing. China is investing about $150 billion into AI. They announced it about 3 years ago, and that's why that's part of the trade dispute with America, because President Trump is feeling that China will overtake America in innovation. So we need to put that money, and government has to put in money, and then private capital come. Many of the multi-MNCs and others are doing the research. For example, Nivruti Rai of Intel is focusing on AI. She's creating an AI network, etc. But they need to be supplemented by public funds, because this will create the kind of high-quality jobs that are required. Some of the lower-paid jobs can go to Hubli, Dharwad, Mangalore, etc. But now the high-quality jobs which have to come here, we have to be at the cutting edge. And for the cutting edge, public investment, R&D is required. That should be the next leap forward for Bangalore. And also that Elevate program of the government, it's a very good program. That's a fantastic program. The Elevate program should have a subsection focus on high technology and innovation. So it should not focus on anything else. Define the areas, 4 or 5 years of high technology, and only those who come up with that level should be given the kind of grants that they give, especially over and above what they're doing.
How do you think can the government intervene in the whole process of development of startups?
You see, the government should be a catalyst. The government has been a catalyst. Remember, Karnataka has the first IT policy in India, 1997, with R.V. Deshpande, remarkable minister. Educational institutions don't get money from the central government. Central government discriminates against the private sector. They only give to their own IITs. They don't want to give money. That's very sad. They should give money to everybody on a competitive basis. So they got to create this consortium of high-tech R&D. Second, they must create the Elevate program and the seed capital program for high-tech, where the risk is higher, so that more and more companies will come up. They'll find it easier to take capital. And the third, they must really put money into Mangalore and Hubli, Dharwad to create the services industry there, the BPO industry there, and give money to startups, so that more startups will go there. I mean, it's sad that only Bangalore is doing well. Bangalore has got very good human capital. Hubli, Dharwad has got very good human capital. And if Hubli, Dharwad does well, the whole of North Karnataka do well. North Karnataka is lagging behind. Mysore also requires some help. I think that should be done. And the fourth thing which they have to do very clearly is they must pump money into creating labs in at least about 50 engineering colleges. Create AI labs, create ML labs, create 3D printing labs, where all the students can do many programs. Give them 1 crore per university for each year for 5 years. Kickstart. Because look, Karnataka's budget is 250,000 crores. And the IT industry brings in revenues, GDP contribution to revenue is 25%. For the 25% contribution, they hardly get anything. They get lip sympathy. They've been talking about going to tier 2 cities for maybe 25 years. But not much has been done. So I think the government has to rethink its strategy and redo it.
Coming back to the current situation, how many startups do you see will shut shop in Bengaluru?
Maybe 2,000 could shut shop. I mean, it's just a guesstimate. It could be less, it could be more. But 2,000 is maybe 20-25% of all the startups here. And that's okay. That's okay. Because please remember, is the startup shut shop, they will regroup. They will regroup. See, these are young people. Most of them are very young people. They'll regroup. They will form new teams. They'll go elsewhere. They will work. It's perfectly fine. See, there has to be a shakeout every few years. Because the shakeout will mean that easy pickings are gone and people will stop wasting doing something which has already been done, and they'll try to think what else to do. And they probably will go join somebody else. They'll form new teams, and that's perfectly fine with me.
The startups that do manage to get through this, what are going to be the main challenges for them in the post-COVID world?
Well, the main challenge will be scaling up, because it's going to be very competitive, because there's going to be consolidation. Because, consolidation means fewer companies will get capital. They have to grow very fast. Competition will be more intense, because when you grow faster, you take a bigger share of the market, and then you need to do that. The market is moving towards you. Everything is gone digital. So you are in a very sweet spot. And by the end of this year, you got to scale up 3x, 4x, because this kind of opportunity will not come again. It should not come again. Hopefully, we should not have this kind of pandemic crises. But this is all digital, and I think digital is fantastic. The market is moving towards you. So I think you got to scale up, and that should be the key thing. And Karnataka should be way ahead of where it is. Today, I would say Karnataka is maybe 50% of what the Silicon Valley is. We must go to 70% in the next 2 years. And for that, we need larger companies, we need scale, we need more investment, we need more R&D.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Pai. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and good talking to all of you. Thank you.
Do let us know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe to our social media handles to be notified when we release the next video. Until then, stay safe and see you soon.